What if an entire city was hiding beneath your feet, invisible, silent, and thousands of years old? Deep beneath the sun-scorched lands of Turkey, there exists a world that most people will never see. This is not a myth, this is not a legend. This is a real underground city carved by human hands. Welcome to Derinkuyu, the deepest and largest underground city ever discovered on Earth. This ancient metropolis stretches an incredible 85 meters below the surface. That is deeper than most buildings are tall, and it was built without any modern technology. For thousands of years, this city remained completely hidden from the world above. Millions of people walked right over it, never knowing what lay beneath them. The story of how it was discovered is almost too strange to believe. In 1963, a local man in the Cappadocia region of Turkey knocked down a wall in his home. Behind that wall, he found a dark tunnel stretching deep into the earth. He stepped inside Devaliden and walked into a civilization that had been lost for centuries. Some versions of the story say it was actually chickens that led to the discovery. A farmer noticed his chickens disappearing through a whole ballatry, and they never came back. When he followed them, he stumbled upon a passageway into an entire underground world. No one could have imagined what waited at the bottom of that tunnel. Archaeologists were called in immediately with Tedina, and what they found shocked the entire world. Level after level, room after room, a massive city revealed itself beneath the ground. The city had been completely sealed off and forgotten for hundreds of years. It was like opening a time capsule from the ancient world. Derinkuyu is not just a tunnel or a small shelter. It is a full-sized underground city. The city stretches across 18 levels deep into the earth. At its deepest point, it reaches 85 meters either. That is roughly 280 feet below the surface. To put that in perspective, that is deeper than a 25-story building is tall. The entire underground network covers an area of approximately 170 square miles. That is almost the same size as the entire island of Barbados. At its peak, this city housed up to 20,000 people, all living underground. Some historians believe the number may have been even higher, possibly up to 100,000. These people did not just survive down here, injured, the prison. They actually lived full lives. Schools, churches, kitchens, storage rooms, and everything was built underground. The exact origin of Derinkuyu remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Most historians believe construction began around 800 BCE, over 2,800 years ago. The first builders are thought to be the Phrygians, one of the most skilled architects of the Iron Age. They carved the initial tunnels by hand, using only basic stone tools. But the Phrygians were not the last ones to work on this city. Over the centuries, many different civilizations expanded and improved the underground network. They turned it from a simple shelter into a fully functioning underground metropolis. But the biggest question remains Why did thousands of people choose to live underground? The answer is survival. The region of Cappadocia was constantly under threat of invasion. Throughout its history, Derinkuyu served as a massive underground bunker. When enemies attacked from above, the entire population would disappear beneath the ground. Invaders would arrive to skirt and find a completely empty village with no sign of life. The city protected its people during the Arab-Byzantine Wars from 780 to 1180 AD. It sheltered residents during the brutal Mongolian invasions led by Timur in the 14th century. Even as late as the early 1900s, people used Derinkuyu to escape danger. The city was finally abandoned in 1923 after a population exchange between Greece and Turkey. For decades after that, it sat in complete darkness, waiting to be found again. The engineering behind its defense systems was absolutely brilliant. Every single detail of the city was designed with protection in mind. The entrances to Derinkuyu were sealed with massive rolling stone doors. Each door weighed up to 1,000 pounds and could only be opened from the inside. These enormous stones could completely block off an entire section of the city. If an enemy somehow got past one door, another sealed section would stop them again. The doors fit into specially carved grooves in the rock, like a giant ancient lock. This meant that even a small group of defenders could hold off a much larger army. The narrow hallways forced attackers to move single file. This made it almost impossible for a large force to fight its way through. The design turned the underground tunnels into a natural fortress. It was one of the most sophisticated defense systems of the ancient world. One of the biggest challenges of living underground is getting fresh air. The builders of Derinkuyu solved this problem in a remarkable way. They created over 50 ventilation shafts that reached all the way to the surface above. Some reports suggest there were as many as 15,000 narrow air passages throughout the city. These shafts allowed fresh air to flow deep into even the lowest levels. The system was so effective that 20,000 people could breathe comfortably underground. Air ducts were carefully designed to distribute oxygen throughout the entire network. Without this ventilation system, life underground would have been impossible. This shows just how well the ancient builders understood the science of air and survival. Even by modern standards, this ventilation design is considered impressive engineering. Every great city needs a reliable source of water, and Derinkuyu was no exception. The builders constructed a deep well that stretched over 55 meters into the ground. This well was carefully designed to be isolated from the lower levels of the city. This protected the water supply from contamination during enemy sieges. Clean, fresh water flowed through the city, keeping thousands of people alive. Food storage was another critical part of the underground city's design. Entire rooms were dedicated to storing grain, wine, and other provisions. The stable underground temperature made it a perfect natural refrigerator. The city even had its own wineries, producing wine deep beneath the earth. Life underground was far more comfortable than most people would imagine. Derinkuyu was not just a hiding place, a plot. It was a functioning city with a real community. Families lived in residential quarters, carved directly into the rock walls. Children attended underground schools, learning inside chambers lit by torches. One of the most unique features was a cruciform church located between the 3rd and 4th levels. This church had a beautiful barrel-vaulted ceiling, the sonyo, a rare architectural achievement. People worshipped, gathered, and built a community life, all beneath the ground. There were also taverns and shops where residents could socialize and trade. Livestock was kept near the surface levels to reduce bad smells and toxic gases. This smart placement also provided a layer of insulation for the levels below. Every aspect of daily life had been carefully planned and organized underground. The reason Derinkuyu was built in Cappadocia comes down to the geology of the region. Millions of years ago, 3 massive volcanoes erupted across this landscape. Mount Erciyes, Mount Hassan, and Mount Melendez shaped the entire region. The volcanic ash that settled created a soft, stable type of rock called tuff. This rock was incredibly easy to carve. Workers could shape it with simple hand tools. But once carved, the tuff hardened and became extremely strong and durable. This is why the tunnels of Derinkuyu have never collapsed, even after thousands of years. The rock itself acted as natural insulation, keeping the city cool in summer and warm in winter. It was the perfect natural material for building an underground civilization. Nature, in a way, handed the ancient builders the ideal foundation for their city. Derinkuyu was not an isolated underground city. It was part of a much larger network. These tunnels stretched for miles, creating an underground highway system. Many of these cities are connected to each other through long underground tunnels. Derinkuyu is directly connected to another underground city called Kaymaklı. The region of Cappadocia is home to at least 36 different underground cities. During invasions, entire populations could move between cities without ever going above ground. This connected network made the underground civilization nearly impossible to destroy. Enemies above ground had no way of knowing where the people had gone. The tunnel system was one of the greatest survival strategies of the ancient world. It turned a single city into an entire underground empire of interconnected settlements. Even today, archaeologists are still uncovering new secrets inside Derinkuyu. Only about 10% of the underground city has been fully explored so far. That means 90% of this ancient world remains untouched and unexplored. We still do not know exactly who built the very first levels of the city. The full extent of the tunnel network has not yet been mapped. There may be rooms, chambers, and entire sections that no one has seen in thousands of years. Some researchers believe there could be artifacts and treasures still buried deep below. The city holds answers to questions about ancient engineering, culture, and survival. Every new excavation brings surprising discoveries that rewrite what we know. Derinkuyu is a puzzle, a pyth, and humanity is still working on solving it. In 1985, UNESCO declared Derinkuyu a World Heritage Site, recognizing its global importance. Today, tourists from all over the world come to walk through its ancient tunnels. For just a few dollars, visitors can descend into the underground city and experience it firsthand. Walking through Derinkuyu feels like stepping back thousands of years in time. The city stands as proof of what humans can achieve when survival is at stake. It shows the incredible ingenuity, creativity, and determination of ancient civilizations. Without modern machines or computers, these people built one of the greatest structures in history. Derinkuyu reminds us that human beings have always found ways to adapt and overcome. No matter how harsh the conditions may limit, people find a way to survive and even thrive. This underground city is one of the most powerful examples of human resilience ever discovered. Derinkuyu is not the only underground city in the world, but it is the deepest and most impressive. From ancient bunkers in China to Cold War shelters in Europe, humans have always gone underground. The desire to protect ourselves from danger is one of the most fundamental human instincts. Throughout history, civilizations have repeatedly turned to the earth for safety and shelter. Underground cities teach us that survival is not just about strength, Mavely. It is about smart design. The ancient builders did not have technology. They had knowledge, skill, and creativity. They understood their environment deeply and used it to their greatest advantage. Derinkuyu proves that innovation does not require modern tools or only human imagination. It is a monument to what ordinary people can build when they work together with purpose. History is full of hidden wonders, and Derinkuyu is one of the most extraordinary. Somewhere beneath the warm Turkish soil, 20,000 people once called this underground world home. They raised families, built churches, and lived entire lives without ever seeing the sun for months. They did all of this thousands of years before the modern age even began. The story of Derinkuyu is a story about fear, Setya. But even more, it is a story about courage. It is about the lengths human beings will go to protect the people they love. It is about creativity, resilience, and the unstoppable power of the human spirit. Next time you walk outside and look at the ground beneath you, remember this. There could be an entire world hiding just below the surface, waiting to be discovered. Derinkuyu opened its doors to us once locally, and it changed everything we thought we knew about the past. The deepest underground city in the world has one final lesson for all of us. Never underestimate humanity.